Just on a simple note, you know, look at the kids. Even from as we are born, we know how to get things. We know how to sell. Look at the kids. Making different facial expressions. Trying to get something. Trying to cry or trying to do a cheeky smile, and they get you. They get you. So we all have selling skills in ourselves. Um, and from that basic selling skills we hone on further skills as we become entrepreneurs, right? We are no longer a child, so we need to own further skills, but we all have it. That's what I want you to know. um, I did advertising. I ran an ad agency for just over 6 years, and some of the things that I've learned I would like to share with you. um, First and foremost, use great copy. So whatever you're writing, whether you are writing your Facebook campaign or you're writing your own copy on the website, whatever you write, I mean, you have to be very sharp. Um, you don't need to create a full story. These days, people don't have so much time, so you have to write nice and short stories. Also, your sentences, try to keep them short as well. One thing I think of is politicians. They like listen to Barack Obama or Martin Luther King. They are very short. So nice enunciation. Single-minded proposition. That's the most powerful line in advertising industry. You may have different ideas. You may want to execute in different ways, but you got to actually funnel it down, and you have to think of one thing. It's like, what is the core thing that I want to sell? What is the core idea that I want to talk about? You can't talk about four different ideas. The moment you do that, you dilute your idea, you dilute your message, and you don't get the execution that way. So you must have a single-minded proposition, and that becomes your mission as well in your business. It's like you may have a few things, and you have to bring it down to SMP. Be creative with ideas and execution. There are so many ads out there, right? Everyone is trying to sell something. What is your unique way of selling? If your ad is just a simple one, is here is a sale, here is my food, or here's this and that, I mean, so many competitors out there, so you got to have a twist into it. um, Infuse some emotions, infuse some intelligence. People buy from inside. It's like, I'll talk next steps about that, but just a basic sale, it doesn't cut it. um, Never use cheap graphics. Your business has visual elements that makes it. So everything that you're using, don't just go on and copy it from internet, and especially the low resolution ones. Everything that comes out of your business on your social media or on the website, that is working towards building your brand. So every time you're posting something as an individual, even on your personal Facebook or LinkedIn page, instead of your business page, everything that you're posting, it is in the process of making a brand out of you, and that directly or indirectly, affects the brand. So you got to make sure that everything that you're saying, writing is on money. If you don't have much to say, don't say anything. Silence is better than just something which doesn't mean anything. Spend wisely. So when you're a startup, money is the key here. I remember when I was starting up my ad agency, that was my first business, and I had limited money, and I wanted to do graphics. I wanted to do animation. Um, I contacted a contact of mine, just an acquaintance of mine, and they were charging me what, 10 grand to do an animation. I had to think hard, and I had to make sure that I spend very wisely. So I then contacted an animation company, which were going to do the job for 4 grand. I had to create some story. I had to tell my story in a creative way. If you go out and do a video, which includes people, etc., that becomes more expensive. So I got myself an animation. Even a simple graphic design could do as well. And these days there are, organizations like Canva, apps like that, which are much cheaper. So you have to think creatively there. Do your research, in the business you are in, or your competitors, or the businesses that you're going to meet. I mean, that's the most important thing. When you're going for a pitch, like, just research the hell out of it. When you know things, when you know shit, like when you're sitting in front of the people, even though they are high up, when you know much about them, they feel confident and they talk to you in a different way. If you're asking too many questions based on the fact that you haven't done your research on the company, they're not going to treat you well. Your interview is going to be finished very quickly. So, just make sure you do your research on everything, actually. The buyer process, so you have to go through, the entire process of the buying journey. So you have to follow that. Know your target audience. So you would have done your research on the target audience. Whether it's a community that is interested in inquiry, or anything like that. You have to do your final research on your target audience. Connect social media metrics with return on investment. So social media could be fine. You may have several likes, etc. But unless you're connecting that with, unless you're putting in fine points there, it's like, what is the return on the investment that the customer is making? Unless you are able to connect those dots, you aren't gonna get any business. And this is a fact. So a lot of people have fantastic social media, but when they launch a product, unless unless they talk about the return on investment, if that doesn't justify, they can't sell properly. Leverage Facebook. Well, a lot of people, everyone is there on Facebook. So, leverage your own contacts. You can always connect yourself with a brand. I mean, I'm sure you do that. And integrate all marketing channels. So that is very important. So, when you're posting, post that on everything and try to connect the dots. It works very well if you integrate that amongst all of the channels. Build your own brand, as I was saying earlier. This is how I have built my own brand too. I have put my skin in the game. So as I started the charity, I always had interest in the community. As I mentioned earlier, that as a kid, all I saw was the family starting up the charity, where we had the hospital and the school. So, this built in my heart, and here I am, starting up a charity. So, I went out and I associated myself with other charities as well. I learned things as well. So I went to See You Sleep Out, part of Winnie's Travel Warrior, etc. So I learned a lot of things. So if you are in the industry, you got to associate yourself with the competitors a bit, if if you could, and learn in the journey, and put your skin in the game. If you could do a bit of community service, well, that's fantastic. You community embraces you, and you belong there. You get to talk to people in a different way. The way to sell is to have a relationship, build a relationship, and then the sale becomes so easy. You're connected with people. It wouldn't even feel like you're selling something. And the best example of a brand that sells to you is Apple. It's not directly related to this point, but it's like it's a pull strategy rather than a push strategy. So by building up my own brand, I'm trying to create a pull strategy where, when I say, for example, I talk to a brand, or sometimes brands connect with us saying that, we want to talk to you, we want to work with you. Or a lot of people want to work with us as a mentor, volunteers. So this is one of the reasons why people are coming to us. The kids at the bottom, bottom right, very cute. They come from Travel Warrior, where I go boxing. Noel goes out there as well from our team here tonight. So yeah, beautiful kids. Some of them come from trauma background, and it's fantastic to have a chat with them and go through a bit of mentoring program with them. So it's good. The top, pretty much in the middle, from the blood donation to the left, these are my students from UNSW, mentees. So I get to spend time with various mentees every semester. I get one or two mentees. So it's a good way to connect with communities and be able to donate your time. Top left is Is a governor from a prison from Penrith area. They wanted to get our help as well, and then COVID happened. So there's a bit of a delay in the process, but we are really looking forward to serving the inmates who are coming out of the prison. So yeah, something we are really excited about. Upcoming project. Um, some more things is, I joined Marine Rescue. There was an event up at USW facing equality, so they get to display all the entrepreneurs, which were the graduates from UNSW. So yeah, they displayed my picture as well. So people of color, and this year UNSW invited me to be a guest lecturer over there as well. So which was good to see. So it's all part of the brand building, really, the work that they have seen, and based on that, they invited me to do that. So keep that in mind. Back to sales now. Sales is the only way to let the world know what you have to offer. I mean, someone could be very intelligent and all, and if they are not out there trying to talk about themselves or the brand, they are not selling anything. Versus a mediocre, if they are out there, daring to talk about the brand, well, there they are selling. And it helps to build relationships, as I was talking to you about. So if you are gentle with your selling skills, not so not so pushy, etc., it's just a perfect skill. You got to talk about things, but just keep it at a fine pace. So if you know the limit, if you know the pace of selling, well, you're going to fly high. So yes, sales build relationships. It helps build credibility as well, which I was talking to you about. I took you through my journey. It's like how just kind of a gentle selling skills. I try to, I got something under my belt. Um, like UNSW or any other thing. So it does totally build credibility when you talk to people. Build relationship. Firstly, build relationship. Then worry about selling. So spend a couple of times. Just talking to people, just getting to know them. Once you have built that relationship, everything comes after that easily, much easily. So art of selling. Use an authoritative tone to the gatekeeper. Many times, you're going to call out, call organization senior leaders, etc. And of course, they're gatekeepers, PAs, and any other. And they're going to talk you down. They're going to just screen people. So unless you use authoritative tone, you're not going to get through. You've got to have that, and you will own that. Um, my first job was working for a five-star hotel. Um, marketing and selling. I mean, I was on the phone too. It took me 1 month to learn the art of communication. My first month was shit. I could not get through things, but I learned from there. And within 6 months, it was I was I was a team leader, so I learned quite a lot. So authoritative tone is very important, and use the same tone in meetings as well. You got to show that you know things, and when you know things, you display. You don't have to be displaying that you're weak or so, or you're really desperate for a sale. When people buy, people buy knowledge, and people buy confidence. Confidence is the most important thing. No matter how much you know, if you're not confident enough at the time of pitching, etc., you're just going to lose it. So, authoritative tone is, it equates to confidence. You must have that. And confidence builds over time, with a lot of, celebration of small wins. Going to meetings, not worrying about, any losses, or not worrying about, losing your thing. Just take it easy. As I said, try to build up relationship first, and then worry about sales. So once you have built up relationship, you're not going to be nervous into your meetings. So try to follow that. And as I mentioned, you're the expert, because you have been working towards your brand. You have full understanding of your product, your competitor, market, etc. You have full understanding of who you're going to meet as well. If you're going for a meeting, as say, to meet the CEO of Coca-Cola, you got to understand the product, entirely, and you got to have your research about that person as well. What university, what's the positions that they have been through. They like that. They really like that. Um, and people need to feel understood as well. So there is an example here is a doctor gets to see a patient, and the patient is obese, and they're puffing and all, and you know that they have been smoking their whole life, and they have been eating like fast food their entire life. So you don't get to a conclusion trying to give them diagnosis that way. You got to go through the basic steps, and you ask them questions and comfort them, etc. And that would lead towards the solution that they are trying to offer to them. Make them feel that based on the conversation they have come to the conclusion. You haven't really led them into the conversation. They would like you then. Okay, art of selling. Have an amazing product or service. Without that, you're not gonna get anywhere. So your time is going to be spent on keep on owning your skill and owning your products. So as you continue to do your market research, etc., I mean, it will take you some time to really own the product. I mean, from like every year, I see LinkedIn doing things on its own product software. So don't be feeling embarrassed. So that maybe even after 1 year or 2 years, it's all about sharpening your skills, sharpening your product. So no matter how long it takes, just keep on every year, every month, every day. Think of ideas as how to sharpen your product every day. Build confidence in yourself, as I was saying. Like once you're confident, you can win anything. Like you sit in front of people and you wow people, with your charm. So yeah, it's amazing. And how you get confidence by doing your homework. By doing your homework on your product, on your competitors. Making your product sharp. Doing all the research about people, etc. The more the confident you feel. And do not forget about celebrating small success. It's so important. And don't be too hard on yourself. I often happen to be. Don't be too hard on yourself. As long as you have done your best, that's all you could do. Try really hard, and have a system in place. Be consistent. If you be consistent at it. An example I could think of is the samurai fighters. What was the movie of Tom Cruise in which like he gets to see all the samurai fighters every day, every morning, waking up and doing the training. And practice makes you perfect. So as long as you're practicing every day, you will become perfect. Just have confidence in yourself. Tell a convincing story. A very fine line about marketing. There are so many big brands out there who have been trying to sell things, but they fail. So I want you to watch this video later on, as I'll send you the link. Um, a very important thing that Simon Sinek says is that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So as I was saying earlier, that sales happens like you don't go on. So as you can see, like if you're selling accounting software, small business, don't base your marketing on the sales pitch, on the fact that you sell the best accounting software or something. I mean, you got to people buy it from the passion, like why you're doing the thing. You've got to define the why from your business. Once you have the why covered, people will come and buy your product. I mean, for example, why do people come volunteer at Opportunities Australia? Because we have a passion to serve the community. We have a passion to, we have a vision to see this community better, in a better place. So that is my why. That is Opportunities Australia why. You got to have your own why. It's like, why would people want and buy from you? So you got to work on that. And I'm sure, all of you would have done that. Cut the fluff, this is important, like just get to the point, don't keep it so fluffy, and just go to the point. Be a walking FAQ page, like you got to know it all, based on your research, etc. You would start to know everything about your product, competition, etc. So, like here, as long as you know it all, you're going to win. and sell what the client is actually looking for. Um, you may have a few things for the clients. So having interactions, first couple of interaction with the clients, you may, talk about things, and, you start to, ask questions and find out what the client is after. Sometimes you don't know, so, you're telling your story, painting a picture. When I was, in my initial journey, over 20 years ago, when I was in my initial journey of selling or marketing, my team leader said that, you got to paint your picture. So while you're painting your picture, while you're doing your sales pitch, customer shows interest, and then you stop there. Don't keep on going. You stop there, and then you start, talking about that piece only, and keep on working until the customer likes it, until you close it. If you close it, fantastic, congratulations to you. But if you couldn't close it at that time, keep on painting the picture. It's very important. Um, what else? What qualities do leaders possess that make them master sellers? Well, these are the qualities that you got to possess. Confidence, talked about it. Commitment, waking up every morning, doing the thing over and over again and commit to it. Like entrepreneur, 95% of startups fail. Unless you're super committed to it, you're not going to win. Integrity. Well, yeah, when you're in business, you got to have full integrity. Yeah, you got to be super sharp. Above par, soft skills. You got to know the art of communication, and that takes you far. You got to know how to communicate. You're going to sit with various levels of people, and you just keep on swapping your hats, and you got to be master of your conversational skills. You got to own that. Continuous learner. Life is all about learning. What you show yourself to the world this year, the world is not going to appreciate that next year. So you got to continuously learn to make yourself better and make your brand better too. Target oriented. So you got to be target specific. If you're going, all over the planet, well, it's not going to work. You got to be a great listener. When you're sitting in an interview meeting, of course you have a story to tell, but when the client is telling you what their needs are, you got to be able to listen. You're listening more. You try to structure yourself, structure your pitch. So the questions you're asking, you're listening more and talking less, because that's how deals happen. If you're just doing your sales pitch and if they're not interested, you got to be able to understand, the facial features, etc. So listen more. Good communicator, of course. Problem solver. Yeah. So without having the skill to solving the problems, you're not going to get anywhere. Product and market knowledge, which I talked to you about. You got to have a full understanding of your product, competitors, and what the market requires, etc. You got to have full understanding of that. It might take you some time. So as you are in the process, some of you are in the process of launching your business. This is a great time to do your research, market research, etc., and know it all. Two main difference here in a leader, above mentioned qualities, fully cultivated. These are not just qualities, but also how they use the techniques make all the difference. So, yeah, have a look at how leaders behave. So there are different ways of selling here: transaction-based selling, relationship-based selling, and diagnostic selling. Diagnostic selling is, in which you diagnose a problem and then after, you try to sell to that. A leader instead use a conviction-based selling. So conviction-based selling is pull strategy, which I talked to you about earlier. You don't need to keep on pushing. That's sale. Don't worry about that. Best example is Apple. I love the brand of Apple and Nike. It's so on pull strategy. Go walk into a store of Apple, and they are beautiful products, right? And the customer service people, they don't go on trying to sell something to you. You go into the Apple store, you play with the products, etc., and you fall in love with the product, right? They allow you to do that. Play with the products, etc. And once you fall in love with the product, you would call the sales agent. They are there, if you have an issue, if you want to understand something, you call them, and they're very smart people, all of them. and they are there to help you. But once you fall in love with the product, you call the sales agent. They come out, and they bring out this FPOS reader thing. You do the tap, no printout, anything. It's such a smooth transaction there. I love Apple brand, how they operate, and the ads are fantastic. So this is a link I had from Apple, that I'll send that for you. And Apple, just the way they sell, they don't say that, we make just fantastic product. They go into the deep of it. It's like what Simon Sinek was saying, that, they buy because, why you do it. So Apple got the why right. Same as what you're going to do as well. And using these techniques, leader can create a need for what you have to offer, demonstrate its use, communicate its availability. So all that. And leader understand the importance of word of mouth reference. So, once you have built your brand, well, word of mouth comes. So that's when you start to reap. So, every day as you're working towards things, you have to get to a point that, you started to sell, and then after word of mouth happens, and, you get the deliverables right, which I've talked about. So this is how leaders sell, not by selling, but by persuading people to demand. So, keep on sharpening your skill, keep on sharpening your product, and get people to demand your thing instead of you imposing your product on people. There's a huge difference there. Once you get the formula right, you'd be set for life. So you just have to, keep on working towards that. And, this is a journey. We will be with you to just sharpen your product, and and we want you to be successful. Last but not least, have fun, right? Life is too short, as we have all seen in the past couple of years, right? Couple of pictures that I have added in here, I love motorbike riding, so everyone has got, the different passion. So there I was, probably 12 years of age. I was riding like this, growing up in India. There was no requirement of helmet or anything. I didn't have a driver's license. So I used to ride like that. Here I am. I'm still riding. So following my passion, traveling, just doing whatever I love. So, yeah. And, if you haven't connected with me on LinkedIn or so, yeah, you're welcome to. So this is me. Back to Sydney. Thank you.
Thanks, Kumar. Great presentation. And I think you touched on a really great point there, building your brand. And as you can see, Kumar's built a great brand around himself by consistency of being able to be in the community and helping others. So, and which has eventually led to opportunities in Australia and everyone here today. So, and I'd like to talk on the leadership. I think leaders selling, that's an interesting one as well, because I think that does become the best case scenario where, people are following you, and instead of the other way around. And I think for a few of your businesses that are going to build a business around your brand, like Sam, for instance, he's going to be like coaching. So, others in tutoring businesses, with stuff that is around your time, your professional time, your expert time. That's going to be where you can build yourself as the brand and as the business. So I'll just share my screen and we can jump into my side of the sales presentation. All right, is that coming through?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, session 4. We live in a capitalist society. To some people's, disappointment. But we have to do what we can in the society we live in. So money does make the world go round in the society. Sales. This image is not showing up, but it was saying life is not faint of heart. But I'd say sales is not for the faint of heart either. Sales takes a lot of grit, and I won't touch on everything that Kumar's already talked on, but it does take a lot of perseverance and being able to just commit to that role day in and day out, because it is hard work. So what I'll touch on briefly before we go into the breakout rooms is going to be the 5 W's, which is who, what, why, where, when, how, and the H is how. The 3 P's of selling. So some practical things. I'll show you a sales guideline that you can take away and create for your own business so that you can have active steps towards how to present a sale. So sample sales framework, handling objections, which is very important. I'll explain that later. And then, we'll move on to the breakouts. Similar to what Kumar said previously, a great salesperson, they're relationship builders. They're someone that can provide value and help customers win. And when you get it just right, like Apple or Nike, as Kumar was mentioning, it doesn't feel like a sale. It's just very, seamless. So that's what you'd like to get to at some stage as well in your business. So what, who, when, where, why, and how? What are we doing with selling? We're providing value. The customer's gaining value from us solving their problem. So, going back to our early sessions, what is the problem you're trying to solve, and how are you going to do it different to other people doing it? And in your business, who is going to sell? Someone needs to sell. It can be yourself. That's why we did the personality tests in session 2. If you're an extrovert, you'd probably really be well suited for selling. If you're an introvert, you might need to figure out who can do it for you. So that's like building your team. And sometimes the website does it for you as well. So it just depends on what your strategy is. So we can talk about go-to-market strategies next week. When to sell? Always. Like, if you can sell while you're sleeping, like, do that, because that's why websites exist. Because it's always on. It's always there to serve the purpose of informing the customers of what you do, how you do it, and why they should work with you. So, Apple, they sell every minute, every second they're selling a product because it's online. When they're selling, it's always. Where? You want to sell where your customers are waiting. So for some of you, it's going to make more sense to be in the real world, with a physical store. For some, it might make sense to do online, just through Facebook perhaps, or just through close friends. It just depends. So you'll define where your customers are and why. Sales to me is the lifeblood of business. If you don't have a sale, there's no revenue and there's no business. Like, there won't be any further action. That's why we talked about last session, how much funding do you need to succeed? Because if the business isn't making sales in the first 6 months, you need that runway to have enough money till you can start making revenue. So how? And we'll get into how, a plan and action in the next few slides. So the 3 Ps, I won't go through things that we covered already, but passion, price, perseverance. Selling is tough. Like, I was never a salesperson, but when I started my business, I had to be a salesperson. So I was doing cold calls. I was talking to people, failing, stumbling over my words, being really, scared of what I was saying, being too desperate. So I've done all the mistakes, but those are the mistakes you need to do to get better. So if you go through that, it's going to be difficult, but just keep going through and persevere. And price, this can make or break your bank. So similar to what Michelle touched on last session is, have you figured out what you should be pricing at based on the cost of your service or the cost of your product? If there's no margin, your business won't grow. So always factor that in. The sales guidelines. What do you really need as a basic practical system for you to move things forward? First, have a framework. You need a sales framework. This allows you to be systematic, because if you try to sell something one way and you don't test it enough, you don't really know if it's going to work or fail. You need enough times to try it out and then figure out, okay, it really doesn't work. Let me try something else. What is your unique selling proposition? What do you do better than your competition? Or is what you're doing completely unique? product, what do you sell? So really define that. That's why you business plans, process. What can a customer expect? What are the time frames you're going to do this? If you're in a tutoring business, is my internet cutting out a little bit?
Yeah.
A little bit. It's not too bad.
Okay. So people, who are your customers and how are you helping them? And of course, and as a very like basic thing, you need sales materials. You need scripts so that you can follow, you can ingrain the very essential things you need to know and pull them out when you need them with like really sharp and quick responses. And depending on what type of business, you might have flyers, you might have PDF attachments in your email, you might have posters. So have a think. So here's a sample sales framework. This is something that I've actually implemented in my business, and that was done, in 2 years' time. This helped me service over 1,000 businesses. So it was kind of special because we had partners and stuff. But I mean, using this will help you build momentum. So high level, there's 6 main steps: the introduction, building rapport, qualifying the customer, handling objections, closing the sale, and after sales, also known as the delivery. And this framework can apply to all businesses, so coffee shops, online retailer, consulting businesses, whatever you like. So what do these things mean? So introduction. If you're on a phone call and you're trying to sell to someone, or even on if someone visits your coffee shop, if in the first 10 seconds your customer doesn't feel comfortable or they don't believe in what you can offer, so you're trying to convey your expertise, certainty that they're going to get what they believe that they're going to get from you, and the confidence that everything will work out well. And if that's not done in the first 10 seconds, it's likely you're going to lose the sale. So that's very important. Introduction is key. If you don't get past the introduction, you can't build rapport, you can't qualify, you can't close. Second step, build rapport. A lot of customers really want to feel close to their purchases because it's a reflection of who they are. So get to know your customer, ask them questions, tell your story, let them buy into you. That's why, we like Apple. That's why we like, Tesla, SpaceX, because we love their story. Third point, qualify the customer. They're not going to buy from you if your solution doesn't fit their problem. So we keep talking about this point, problem solution. So make sure you define their problem. Okay, my problem is I'm always late with the tax office because I don't have an accountant. Hey, great, we're accountants. I can help you. So here's the solution, and will it suit your problem? Handle objections. So in my accounting practice, they'll talk about, it's too expensive, or now's not the right time, or I don't know enough about you. So these are objections that you hear over and over and over and over again. And it's going to be important for you to make sure that you have ready to go answers. So figure out what your main objections are in your business. Like, I don't want to work with you, Sam, because you don't have enough clients, maybe, But for an example, right? But so Sam could be like, I know we have this many clients, but they're all satisfied because I do what I deliver what I say I can. I help you achieve your goals. I solve your problem. So that's how you would handle that objection, right? Close. Very important step. All these steps are crucial. Close. Would you like to start today? You have to go and ask for them to really commit to what you're trying to give. Or like, are you interested in picking that up today? Or how does that sound? So you can use whatever phrase you want, but the phrase that you're trying to ask is something to get an affirmative response. Like, yes, I do want that. I want that. I want Sam to show me how to be more confident and more social, right? So, as an example. And then if you went through all that hard work from introduction to close and you cannot deliver, you're going to have to give a refund. So make sure that you can deliver the service or the product that you've mentioned. And part of that is maintaining the relationship and retention and upselling and all the fun stuff. So any questions on this framework? We can cover it in the breakout room, but if you have anything, just shout out. Sounds still good, right?
All good.
All right. So every sale does have 5 obstacles. Usually they'll fit into these 5. They have no need. They have no need for what you're trying to sell, or they don't have the money to pay for it. So your product is too expensive. There's no hurry. There's no desire, or there's no trust. So once you figure out what obstacle is your biggest obstacle from someone buying from you, you can focus on that and make sure that you can get over that hurdle and convince someone that you are trustworthy, or you are worth the money, or there is a need for your product. So yeah, really think about that. So objections, you're definitely going to hear it in your business. You're going to hear it in your daily life. Everyone is going to be telling you no, and that's why resilience and passion is important for you to make it through. And if you frame it in your mind, not to treat objections like a shutdown, and instead think an objection is the ability to provide more information, so someone can learn more about you or your business. I mean, that's a good opportunity for us. So yeah, I think that covers my section. I know we're going to break up into rooms now, and then we'll meet maybe at 7:20 to talk about the homework for next week.
Hey, all.
Howdy.
So, any questions regarding what we just talked about? All right. Take time to go through the reading material, and if you guys have any questions, let us know. So I have some of the questions based on the last session. So yeah, I mean, either I could go one by one, or maybe with Noel, I could start with you, as I can see you right now. So the first question was, were you able to determine what the right business structure for you?
Actually, I did. I think my business structure was I think it was company. The guy was a company.
Okay. Company.
Yeah, in all honesty, I really haven't done much of the homework from last week because I've been constantly this week. I've just been I've actually had some one-on-one help with Patrick.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want? Is that what you said?
No, I've had.
Okay.
I've had some one-on-one help. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've been pretty busy with just trying to get everything up and running.
Okay. Yeah, that's all right. Okay. Next question is: did you speak to an expert accountant? Yeah, you did speak to Patrick in that regard.
Yeah, I spoke to Patrick. Yeah.
Okay. Were you able to work out the profitability of your product or service? Did you need any help with that?
No, like I said, I really haven't done much as it's come to that, because I've been what I've done this week is that I sort of went back to front instead of trying to find, how people finding like 10 possible clients for their business. Well, what I did was I went and found platforms platforms that are willing to advertise my website that I want to build. And so I've actually gotten a few of them that are wanting to do it, and then also we also do. And it was only just recently today where I rang up a few businesses for lawyer firms, and I'm just waiting for them to get back to me.
Okay, great. And so next question is, how did your 12 months cash flow forecast look? So probably not, yeah?
No. Yeah.
How will you position yourself in the market?
How will I position myself?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to build, there's no one in the market for it. Everybody else is a review, and I'm going to build mine on purely statistics. So I will be ahead of everybody.
Okay. No one else is there. Okay.
Yeah.
And then how are your competitors pricing themselves, and how will you price your product?
That's what I'm trying to work out at the moment. Well, as for competitors, I mean, everything out there is just purely based on reviews from solicitors themselves, the law firms, or clients. And like I said, I want to be based on statistics which tell the truth and their history. So there's no like everybody else with these reviews. They just sign up for free sort of thing. Whereas me, I'll be a if you want to register with me, well, you're going to have to pay a small fee. And then the same goes for solicitors and law firms as well. Like, say they're at 90% on the highest statistic rate, so they make number one on the list. Well, if they want to be at number one, then they've got to pay they've got to pay a fee for that as well. You know, so it's something I've still got to fine tune, but yeah, that's where it's heading.
Okay, so you're charging a fee, yeah, nominal fee.
Yeah.
Okay. Charging a fee. Okay. Yeah, that's the end of the questions here. Do you have any questions now? Probably not.
No, I'm all good at the moment.
Okay, great. Then I'll go to Melissa.
Hi, Kumar. Give me a couple of minutes. I'm trying to calm down my son.
Okay, no problem. No problem.
Answer to you in a minute. Thank
I'll
you.
go to Balu. So, Balu, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm actually, I mean, I'm attending.
Yeah, you.
Okay, which you are aware.
Yeah,
thank you
yeah.
for giving the opportunity.
Okay, no worries. Any questions today?
Yeah, the questions, not really. I mean, I'm just trying to think in a few aspects. But I have something which is fine. I don't know whether you already covered that aspect. So how to really, if you have some idea and you want to keep the IP and really, register that IP, how do you do it? Because before even launching the product, that's the second product I was talking about. I really want to get my IP registered, so that's something I'm keen to know.
There is the government body to register the IP and ideas. I haven't gone around and registered anything, but I know that there is an IP registration body in the government. So you could contact them and could do that.
Yeah, but what I found is that the IP lawyers are, I mean, I know one IP lawyer.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're quite expensive.
Yeah.
And so I don't really have that sort of funds to really get my IP registered. But at the same time, I really want the product to be in the market. So
what you could do is you could write to us. We got a law firm working with us, is KNL Guides. So we will ask them, and if they are kind enough to do that, we'll contact you.
Oh, excellent. Okay, I will do that.
Cool. Is that all?
Yeah, that's a quick question, but I'll come back for more questions later.
Sure. Okay, FIBA, you wanna go next?
Yeah, sure. Hi, Kumar.
Hello. Okay, so question one, or maybe starting with today's. Do you have any questions from today's session?
No, not necessarily. I think I was focused more on like sales and having a product, but I'm focusing on like a non-for-profit or a youth movement. So a lot of it didn't really apply to me, I suppose, but some of the tips were really helpful.
Sure. Okay, so back to some of the questions relating to the last session is, were you able to determine what the right business structure was for you?
Yeah, so I'm a little confused about, I was able to narrow it down, but I'm still a little bit confused about either company limited by guarantees, the CLG, or incorporated association. So I'm still doing a little bit of research and trying to figure out which suits the best. My only concern with CLGs, apparently it requires, I was having a look into the requirements, and it requires it's essential to have a public office. And I think at this point in time, I don't think that is going to be possible. So I'm not sure how to go on about that.
Okay. So, I mean, your residential address won't work?
I don't think so. I think it's, I was having a look, I was just reading a few things. It says a lot of the times you can connect with an accountant or somewhere like that and give their postal address, I suppose, just for official purposes. But I don't think you can use your residential address. But if you have, if you can maybe confirm that with someone else, or if you have any ideas, that'll be great.
Sure. If you could also write to us, so in that way we have a question from you.
Yeah, we'll do.
Okay. All right. Did you speak to an expert or accountant regarding, the previous question, is able to determine what the right business structure was for you?
I haven't had a chance to, but I did speak to George and Patrick last week in our breakout groups, and I think they were able to basically suggest these two as well. So I'm going to stick to either a CLG, if I can use my residential address to begin with. If that's not the case, then I think I'll just go off with an incorporated association.
Yeah, you would run incorporated for some years before you go into state to do CLG, maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. And the next question is, were you able to work out the profitability of your product or service? Did you need any help?
Not necessarily, because when we're starting off, I think it's just going to be a youth movement, basically providing a platform to connect people. But later on, when we do shift into the social enterprise, I think that's something that would perhaps come in after a few years.
Mm-hmm. So you're not looking into any profitability?
At the moment, no.
You would still have to pay your bills, etc.
Yeah.
And how are you thinking of doing
it's
that?
More so a passion. I think it's more so of a passion-driven project, I suppose. And I think we're looking to collaborating with other NGOs within the state, and also looking to state funding or council or look into grants and see if we can run projects through that.
Absolutely. So in that way, you are looking into a bit of a profitability to pay your bills.
Yeah, you can say so. I think through grants then.
Okay. Grants and endorsement from organizations, etc., corporates.
Yeah.
Okay. And probably let us know if you need any help with that, any ideas for grants or anything else, to contact the corporates.
We'll definitely do.
Any one of you. And then how did your 12 months cash flow forecast look? Did you have a look at that?
I haven't had a chance to look into that yet, because I think I want to come up with the structure first before I move into the cash flow statements.
Yeah. And how will you position yourself in the market?
I think still trying to, I think my main focus at this point in time is getting the structure and actually having getting this registered, because at the moment we have been a bit of work, but I think it's at the moment it's just being on voluntary basis. So we are to some extent recognized within the market, within the community. But of course, I think once we are registered, you'll be able to do things on a larger scale.
Okay. And yeah.
Sorry, I was just going to ask, in terms of writing a constitution, do you know anyone from maybe a mentor or so who can perhaps have a look at it once I've written it, just to perhaps provide some feedback or any suggestions for improvement?
Yeah, absolutely. We got a couple of lawyers here, and then we got K&L guides, which I talked about. So, there could be a possibility.
Okay, that's great. Maybe when I do send you an email, I can attach a draft and see if you can get some feedback on that.
Yeah, sure. And what else? How would you the competitors pricing? So how are your competitors pricing themselves, and how will you price your product service? I mean, anything on that?
So with that,
do you have any price? Like, are you putting any price to that, your service?
No, not at the moment. To begin with, no. I think in terms of competitors, we had this chat last week as well in the breakout room. There is one organization that is doing something similar, but the only thing with that is they're only doing it within New South Wales, and I think my idea is to basically bridge that gap and connect people on an international scale as well moving forward. So I think I'll view that as an opportunity to somewhat collaborate rather than view them as competitors.
Okay. Yeah, collaboration. That's a good idea. We have also been collaborating with smaller charities as well. So yeah, that's a very good way to work in this area. Yeah. Anything else on that regard?
No, that's all. Thank you so much.
No worries. Nasreen, are you ready?
Hi. Yep, ready.
All right, cool. Any questions from today's session?
Not at the moment, no.
Okay, great. So the set questions here is like, were you able to determine what kind of business structure was for you?
I think for the moment, I'll have to be a sole trader. And then only once I start making consistent revenue do I think it will be worth actually registering as a company. Because I know that comes with costs, and they're probably recurring costs. And I think that will just eat into my profits at the moment. So I'm happy to continue as a sole trader.
Okay, great. And did you speak to an expert or accountant regarding that?
No, not yet.
We got a couple of accountants here if you ever need to consult accountants and lawyers.
Sounds good.
All right. And were you able to work out profitability of your product or service? Did you need any help with that?
I have worked that out. So I've got the profitability of each of my products. So I sell a few things. I do jewelry and gift hampers, and I've got a few set gift hampers, and then you can build your own box as well. So with the jewelry, that's easy to figure out the raw materials, the difference between the cost and the price of it. And same with the gift boxes. With the custom gift boxes, it really depends on how many items and what items people are adding to their gift boxes. That will determine the profitability, because the margin is slightly different on each product that people can add. Yeah, the only issue I had with that is that I haven't factored in my time into the profitability. So I've only really looked at the raw materials and the price. I just feel like if I add my time, because at the moment, as I'm beginning, it takes a long time to build this stuff, and I don't really know whether I just factor in the time that I take to actually make the product or all the research behind it. And I feel like if I add my time, I will make a loss on every product.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I price it at a ridiculous price, which I'm not sure anyone will buy it at. So that's what I'm struggling with a little bit.
Well, if you're starting to sell the product cheaper, if you're not factoring in your time, then you're now working towards making it kind of a full-time established business, like you've got to have a successful business model. So if you start
yeah, I mean, I do have a fair margin. I think I have a good margin for my gift boxes. It's above $20 per box, and for the jewelry it's like $10. So I figure if the volume increases, then at a certain point my once I factor my time in, because it's hard to sort of factor my time in because I don't know how much time I spend on each thing. It kind of varies. And I don't really keep a record of that either.
Maybe over time, you do a bit of more research, and you would have a full understanding how much you want to charge, and it would come to you. It's from time to time, one thing that I hear and get to see that people are trying to sell their products at a cheaper cost, and then they try to increase the prices, or someone is selling the price at a much cheaper cost or offer free, whatever that is, complimentary, and then they're trying to jack up the price, and it's rather difficult. So starting with a good enough pricing there, and then building up from there.
Okay, that's good.
And then how did you cash flow forecast?
I haven't done that, no.
Okay. And positioning yourself in the market?
So for the gift box market, and because I have the custom hampers, I don't think there aren't many people doing that. There are a few, but they're not all that well known. So I think that sets me apart, the fact that you can custom build a gift hamper. And then for the jewelry, they're my designs. So, they're very unique, but nobody else is doing them. They're my designs. And in terms of marketing that, I'm largely relying on social media. I do some Google ads, but they're quite expensive. So I try to limit that a little bit and trying to get engagement through social media. And the few orders that I've had have come from like Instagram mainly. So I think that's somewhere to focus for the moment.
Okay. Well, in terms of marketing, if you have any questions, anything like that, you could always consult our team. We'd be very happy to help you. And we got one graphic designer, so maybe in future, like some limited help we could provide in terms of design.
Sure, sounds good.
And last question is, how are your competitors pricing themselves, and how will you price your product?
I think I'm largely on par with competitors, if not slightly lower than them, which I always wanted to be, because I feel like gift hampers can be quite overpriced. And that's something that it's one of the reasons why I started the business anyway, because I didn't like the fact that I didn't like the products in the gift hampers and you're paying such a premium on them. So I think I'm in a good range in terms of pricing of the boxes.
Okay.
Same with jewelry.
Same with
the jewelry. So with the gold range that I've started, I think I'm under what my competitors are doing. Maybe that's something I should revisit, so I can increase my profit margins. But I've kind of come from the perspective that if I price it under, then I'll get more sales, because it's always harder to sell something that costs more.
If you have a tiny bit of margin like Kmart or Target, right? If you have a tiny margin, even Costco, so you sell more, and then eventually you make more profit. So you just have to price yourself perfectly, price perfect. And you could win that possibility.
It's a tough one to figure out, the pricing.
Yeah, once you do your homework, you'd be able to see your competitors' pricing. It's I can understand that. But it will come to you. Homework, like all that competition and everything.
Yeah.
So, any other question regarding these?
No, not for the moment. Thanks.
No? Cool. Thank you. We'll move to Sabrina. Are you ready?
Hi, Kuma. Hi, everyone.
Hello. All right. So any questions from today's session?
No, thank you.
Okay, cool. So the first question is, were you able to determine what the right business structure was for you?
Yeah, at this stage, I think I will go with proprietary limited company.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to connect with Sid. I think he's practicing accountant.
Okay.
And he do mention that his firm has engaged with clients who has visa issues like me. So I'm not permanent Australian citizen or resident. I'm still holding temporary visa.
Mm.
So I just found a public officer to be able to support me for the company.
Mm-hmm.
But I do need to solve out my tax consideration and my business partner's tax consideration, considering he's an offshore Chinese citizen.
Okay, fair enough. Well, any help you need, just let us know.
Thank you. I will.
Okay. Next question is, did you speak to an expert or accountant? So you want to speak to Sydney, but besides that, have you also spoken to anyone else?
I do. I spoke to an accountant, but I think he couldn't offer me enough advice. I think he hasn't done with people like me who is holding temporary visa.
Okay. Okay. So in that case, Sydney would be the best contact for you.
I prefer to contact with him.
Okay. Cool. Were you able to work out the profitability of your product or service?
To be honest with you, I haven't participated in last session, so I haven't had a chance to look at that.
Okay, no worries. What's your product or service quickly anyway? Sorry, I'm not on top of that.
Pardon?
What's your product?
So it's going to be mushroom sauce in
Mushroom
food
sauce.
industry. Yeah.
Okay, all right. And are you keeping on top of that, like all the research and everything?
I paused for a while because of work. But I will keep doing marketing research and go to the street, talk to people.
Okay, cool. All right, running a bit low on time, so so working out the profitability of your product or service. You got that, and yeah, did you do any 12 months cash flow forecast?
Not yet.
Okay, no worries. And how will you position yourself in the market? Any idea?
Not very clear at the moment, but I do have confidence in the product as it's not very expensive. I would prefer to put the price range between $2 and to $5 maximum.
Okay, $2 to $5.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And have you done your competitors' pricing? Like,
currently, their price range is from $2 to $4.
okay. So it's pretty much similar pricing.
Yes.
Okay. And yeah, so you reckon price is right? So yeah. Okay, cool. Any other question?
Not at the moment.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Melissa.
Hi, sorry.
That's okay. No worries. Any questions from today?
No, thank you. No.
Okay. Were you able to determine what the right business structure was for you?
It was incorporate association.
Incorporated. Okay. And did you speak to any expert, accountant or so?
No, what I did is I have done a lot of research and I attend some webinar about how to set up a nonprofit organization. At the end, I decide that's the best option because I will only operate from Victoria. So that's why I decide that's the best option for me.
Okay, cool. And then were you able to work out profitability of your product?
But that question, what do you exactly mean?
Like profitability model, how you make profit, etc. How
Yes. So what I have to say is the first 2 years, we just will operate for free. It's like the first 2 years will be invest. And then after that, when people trust our service, which is free English classes, we will start charging a fee. But it will be a symbolic fee, won't be much. So we will charge, it will be between $2 and $3 per month. Like people will be able to afford that, disregarding if they're in Australia or in Latin America.
$2 to $3 per month.
Yeah, it will be, I won't make much money, but it will be a way to cover our expenses because our first target is to apply to a grant. However, I have read that some organizations only give the grants for charities that are operated at least 2 years. So I have to build this organization in the next 2 years.
Okay, cool. 12 months cash flow forecast? Probably not yet.
No.
Okay, that's all right. And positioning yourself in the market?
Yes, yesterday I launched the organization on social media.
Awesome.
Which was so exciting. So yesterday what I did, I post on the Latino community Facebook that this organization, it will help people to improve their English. And at the end of the post, I said we're hiring volunteers, and I post all the volunteers that I needed. And I said I would prefer to give the opportunity for people who are in Australia that couldn't have an opportunity to work in the field, or people who are in Australia and want to change careers. So many people send me resumes and say, been here in Australia 5 years, couldn't work in my field. I would like to get involved in the program.
Okay, cool. Well, that's good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And competitors pricing. Any idea?
Well, yes, there is a couple of organizations that are kind of doing similar service. They are my competitors. There is an Australian tutor that has an organization, and she's charging a really reasonable price. I think it's $10 per class, which is, and her target is international students. So she's my competitor. And also there is an organization in New South Wales who is offering free classes for international students, but they're offering one-to-one session. And in my case, I'm offering a group session, more interactive session.
Okay. It's a bit nice competition there, and you are on top of it.
Yeah, I think my target is a small group, which is international students from Latin America in Australia. However, I feel they are in need to improve their English. So they're asking me already questions, how to enroll to the class, when the class will be. And I said, it will be in 3 weeks' time, we will start the classes.
Okay, that's good. Exciting times ahead.
It is. This mentorship has been an inspiration for me. Yes, it is.
Anytime. Well, very happy to help.
Thank you.
Right. Any further questions, Lisa?
No, I just want to comment really quickly that I have 3 people interested to join the program.
Oh, wow.
So if you in the future do a second program next year, just let me know and I will pass the information.
Awesome. We'll get them to send out the CVs now, and we'll keep them in the loop.
Perfect. Thank you.
No worries. No worries. Is that all?
Yes.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you. Jeremiah.
Hello, Kumar.
There you go.
Good.
Any questions from tonight?
No.
No. All right. Cool.
Pretty straightforward presentation.
Thank you. So the series of questions once again for you. Were you able to determine what the right business structure for you?
No, not really. I'm still trying to figure out the thing about if it's worth to see this kind of a startup or application to support Lifeblood. I've been trying to reach out people from Lifeblood through LinkedIn, people in digital transformation and project management. I started with these late in the weekend because I attend my English exam last Friday in the afternoon. So yeah, until then I was studying a lot, and yeah, I'm trying to catch up again with this. But in the meantime, yeah, with work, and I had to re-attend the exam because I missed writing for 1 point. I got 78 instead of 79, the only part I missed. So maybe I will reach out to Melissa for help to improve my grammar. But yeah, I'm still trying to figure out if it's worth to try to keep working on the idea of supporting Lifeblood through applications in order to get more donors through non-monetary rewards for people, or try to start assessing a new idea or another business.
Okay, cool. Did you speak to any expert? Or
not yet. I sent some messages through LinkedIn. I haven't received any replies yet from people from the digital transformation and project management and other areas. Yeah, it's like 10 different. I try to approach 10 different people to ask them if they are considering like this kind of approach, by having an application to promote like blood donations and partnering with like companies like Woolworths or any other companies to provide like non-monetary rewards for people when they donate blood, and to create awareness, and at the same time create like a radar of people close to them, like the approach they have with Facebook, but through an app, because they can reach to a much greater audience through an application compared to doing it through Facebook. And at the same time, they can have like more customized news or ways to understand the clients, the donors, and provide them with a non-reward, no monetary reward. Also, they can capture more donors. So still don't have any answers yet.
Okay, fair enough. And do you have any profitability model or so?
If I go like a solo startup and I build everything by myself, not sure. Because what I was thinking is, if this is working with Lifeblood, probably with the Ministry of Health, getting grants from the government, and yeah, like that would be like the main thing, because I won't be selling a product. I will be offering a service, and like if the process or the application is successful and they're receiving like more donors, and they see that they're creating awareness in the society, and you get sponsors giving non-rewards, not monetary rewards to the donors, I think that the government would be happy to support an application like this, because you're promoting life donation of blood in Australia.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. I do have belief in that.
Yeah, and also, if I will be working on that, and it would be like in the part of business development, trying to reach out to different companies who wanna take part on the app and providing their rewards, and creating like relations with the governments and stuff, that role will deserve a salary as well for full time. So I think it can fit in the structure.
Yeah, that's good. And we'll be with you in the journey. And then next question is 12 months cash flow forecast. Have you done that?
No.
Not yet.
No.
Okay. And how would you position yourself in the market?
Well, creating these links between people from LifeFlood and Ministry of Health, and see if they're working on something like that, or if they are keen on having a conversation with me to try to make an assessment and see if they would like to work on that. But it would be more like selling the idea to them and trying to see how we can work together.
Yeah, great. And and the pricing, with the competitors.
There are no competitors. Well, the competitor will be in the awareness of trying to get more donors and stuff. Nowadays, it's Facebook. They have a partnership with Lifeblood, and but it's not a product or a service that is being sold. There's like no pricing. I think it's more I will have to determine the cost structure and see if someone wants from the government to see, it's worth to invest money in that more than talk about a pricing. I think it's hard to determine a pricing in this kind of ideas. I believe.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, cool. I got all the answers. Anything else you wanted to? Yeah, you had any questions?
Not at the moment.
That's all. All right, cool. Sabrina, you wanted to ask a question?
Yeah, sorry, I just it pops up now. So is it possible for us to have a session talking about business leaders' communication skills? Because when I was doing marketing research or doing product survey on the street, I feel I struggled with communicating with external people, or even when I communicate with professionals, I feel I can't articulate myself sometimes.
Sure. Why not? We got communication people in here, so we'll try our best to connect you with the right people. Yeah.
Yes, please. Thanks.
No worries.
And that's the end of my question.
Cool.
No further question.
No further questions. So I will do the close of breakout room here. Close all rooms. So we might have how long? 60 seconds. Any questions or anything? Or any feedback? Just a quick feedback. Hello? You guys still there?
What do you think about this? This is what I'm trying to approach in 30 seconds. I know it's difficult and it's pretty related to government and like major stakeholders, but how would you approach it? If you think it's feasible or it's viable?
It is feasible.
If it's worth.
Yeah, it's worth chasing. That's your dream. So, it is worth chasing. You just have to have the right formula around it. You have to have a great pitch and, like perfect, copy and just make sure all the things that we talked about today, it's like sales and marketing. You got to have. Welcome back, everyone.
Hey.
Hi.
Did you guys like the session today? Any comments or feedback?
Too short.
Go on, Franklin.
It was too short. By the time we realized it was time to come back.
I know. Yeah. Well, we are only a phone call away. So whoever you need to talk to, you can have a consultation with them. I'm sure, we got generous mentors in here. They could dedicate some time with you one-on-one. So yeah, absolutely. I felt that too. I was just, having a chat with Jeremiah. So I had to finish it up. It's 5 minutes, my apology that,
okay.
we are running a bit late here. Any other questions or comments, anyone?
I know it's up till 7:30.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, true.
Yeah.
My apologies, then yeah.
Yeah, but if those who don't have more questions and want to stay on, by all means, I can be here till 7:30.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. Do we want to create a super group?
Let's create a band.
There's a lot of people here that Kumar hasn't spoken to, and I haven't spoken to, and Michelle hasn't spoken to, so it'd be good to. How do you think the program is going overall? Are we enjoying it? Is it too long, too short?
I'm enjoying it. On Saturday, the first day out of lockdown, I sat there and I was working on my business plan, and it took me up to 6 o'clock just trying to put things down. So I'm enjoying it and I'm learning. I'm learning too. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I applaud your effort, Frank.
You're more dedicated than I am. I'm not sure I could spend all Sunday.
I believe in you. You're gonna build a. Yeah.
All of our mentors. Okay, you're back now. You're breaking up.
Yeah.
Jeremiah was asking a question. Yeah. So Jeremiah was asking about the business proposition and all, and I was saying that of course, it's a great idea, and once you have the right proposition around it, all the sales pitch and all, you would win. So you just have to structure it, and then start from the why. Must watch Simon Sinek's video. He's a TEDx talker, speaker, and you just have to start from why. Once you get people to believe in you, believe the purpose of your product or service, if they buy that, they would love to buy your product. Perfect example is Apple. I love the ad of Apple. What is it? The crazy people. Those people who think they're crazy. I mean, they are the people who change the world. Who challenge the status quo. I mean, I feel like, okay, so now someone is there, listening to me. There is a bit of a similarity somewhere. I mean, all the great people, Muhammad Ali, Mahatma Gandhi, Albert Einstein, they failed so many times. They were crazy, like a lot of people, a lot of successful people, they keep on failing. And people think, oh, you're crazy, like, what do you know? You failed too many times, just give up already. And those people, they have a dream. They want to change something. They have a mission. They have a dream. I have a dream, right? Martin Luther King said. He didn't say, I have a plan. I have a dream. If you want to be successful, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you got to have a dream, because it's going to be kind of a difficult journey. It's not very easy for everyone. A startup, 95% startups fail. How is yours going to be successful? It's very important. You got to have a dream, profitability, all that. We got all the chartered accountants in here. They know ins and outs of businesses. I really hope that your business really thrives, but you got to put your skin in the game, blood, sweat, and tears. That's how the saying comes. So yeah, I believe you know it all. So yeah. I had good and bad times running my ad agency. Good times when we get the work from other bigger agencies, but not so good times when we were, competing. We weren't fitting in. Like, we weren't small, we weren't large either, so we couldn't get the bigger clients. So that was a bit of a challenge. It was difficult. I've learned some things from there, and I'm implementing that in my charity. So yeah. I'll shut up. We'll put the ball in someone else's court. Michelle, something?
So one of the things that we were talking about, and for this session, particularly around the selling, I think that's, crafting your what and your why are one of the most important things you can do early on, because that is absolutely what people will buy. If you're not clear about what you're offering, and your what, and if you're not really clear why it's so important, people aren't going to buy. So I think those are, I said, if there were two things that we were going to take away from today's session, that would be the first one. And then the other one is around being able to explain your business really simply. And you can talk about that in the context of, the elevator pitch, or, what would you say if someone walks up to you at a barbecue, given it's Australia, and says, hey, what do you do? Can you answer that really simply in one sentence? Because if you can, that means you really understand what your business is, and that will stand you in such good stead. So really kind of work on, and it's an iterative process, right? Kind of practicing it and saying it out loud. I think that's a really scary point, particularly for, and I've mainly been talking in my group to people that are just starting out and have a business idea and haven't yet launched the business yet. Going from that point where you have this kind of, it feels like this very precious idea that, for all sorts of reasons, you may not have felt ready to verbalize before, practicing saying out loud, this is what I want to do, this is my business, it's a really key first point, and it starts you on that iterative process of what it is, what is it, and you'll practice it, and the first few times you say it, it'll sound really clumsy and weird to be saying it, but the more you say it, the more you craft your proposition, and the more you'll believe what it is that you want to do. So I'd really challenge you all to kind of just say it out loud what you want to do, and really kind of back yourself on this one. I was talking to Balu, I think last session or the one before, when we were going through the homework about asking for customer feedback, and Balu had actually gone and done something different, which is gone and asked, I think Balu, correct me if this is wrong, but gone and asked mainly friends and family, hey, I want to start this business, what do you think? And he got a whole range of responses, and a lot of them were, maybe unsurprisingly, or why would you do that? Aren't you scared you'll fail? If there are so many people doing that, what makes you think you'd be successful? And which are probably things you'll hear when you start verbalizing, hey, this is my business and this is what I want to do. All opinions are not created equal. I was talking to a founder kind of not that long ago, and the thing that he was actually talking about some advice he was giving to someone who wanted to start a business, and he said, make sure you ask the right people that question. Go and ask the people that have actually been where you want to go. They're the people to ask the opinion of, not people that have stayed in kind of a safe, not that any job's safe these days, but in a corporate job or a salary job all their life. It's a very valid choice, but if it's not your choice, don't go and ask them whether you should go and start a business. It's really, really important to ask the right people for that particular piece of advice. Otherwise, it can be really, really easy to kind of get very quickly distracted and disappointed and feel like this doesn't have a shot. Hopefully kind of take that to heart as well. And for those of you that have started your businesses already, I'm sure that's kind of feeling a little bit familiar. Some of those responses you got early on. That would probably be the other thing that I'd say take away from these sessions.
Well said, Michelle. I'd echo everything you said. Asking the right people. Like, the way I had to think about what you said is like, what's a good analogy? And if your skydiver won't say, yeah, like they'll say it's worth the risk, right? And business is sort of like skydiving. Everyone that hasn't skydived, they might say, nah, it's not for me because of the fear, right? There's a tangible fear in people that haven't done it before because it's the unknown. Business is going to be every day is unknown. Like what's behind this door? What's this conversation going to lead to? It's all random. But I mean, you can take educated guess. Like that's what values are so important. Like speaking with our group, we were talking about why and what, and their whys, your unique selling propositions were there, like they're forming, and hopefully in next session, the marketing, we can help, figure out like how to say it the right way and give you confidence to say it and be able to just like just fire it whenever you want. So that gives me a good segue into the homework for this week. 30-second elevator pitch. So we want everyone to come to the next breakout room, and we want you to come in and give us your 30-second elevator pitch. That's the wrong URL, but I'll give you the right URL when we send out things. What's the elevator pitch? It's you being able to sell your business in 30 seconds. Like, why would someone want to buy your product or work with you, right? So, second thing, create your sales framework. Hopefully, you can go to this slide, which is a sample, and you can fill in these sections on like how can you convey this? What is your story? What's your solution? If someone says it's too expensive, how can you persuade them it isn't? And how would you close them? Number 3, who is your audience? I think some still might be trying to figure out who their right customer is. For instance, speaking one of our candidates, Andre and Michael, they've got a very unique audience. They've got they're trying to build a platform around music and supporting your artists, creating a community, getting closer to them. So their customer isn't everyone that listens to music, because that's Spotify does that, and other platforms do that. What they have is very unique. So who is that customer and how can they find them? They're not going to waste time on people that just want to listen to high-res music. They'll just go to Spotify. But if they're looking for someone that wants to get closer to their artist, like create engagement with them, that's their customer. So number 3, who is your audience? Figure that out. And number 4, very important. Handle your objections. So the main 5 objections, they don't need it. They don't have the money. They're in no hurry, no desire, no trust. So come up with reasons that you would persuade someone that didn't have these things to actually still consider you as their solution. So yeah, for those things are going to be your homework for this week. Kumar, Michelle, any closing points or any questions from everyone else?
Let's wait for any questions, comments.
How long is the pitch towards week 8? Like, if it's like, is there minimum time or something like that?
Around 60 seconds, isn't it? How long is it? 60 to 90?
No.
It's at least 2 or 3 minutes, but
they'll come back to me.
We'll clarify that for next week.
Yeah, they have come back to me. I'll look into the email and confirm that.
If they give us an hour or they give us 30 minutes, depending on how many candidates they are, like ideally a 3-minute pitch is good. I find 3 minutes is a good amount. 5 minutes is a little long. 1 minute's too short. And that's why the 30-second elevator pitch is so important. If you can't sell us in 30 seconds, it's going to be very difficult for you to sell us in 5 minutes, because you might just be, just waffling on, which we don't want to do. So Yeah, we'll figure that out.
Yeah.
We'll let you know.
Yeah, and for those of you who are interested in actually doing those pitches on pitch night, the earlier that you can start prepping and preparing and thinking and practicing, the better. And if you need any help, we'll get towards the end of the sessions, some more detailed guidance in terms of those pitches. But if you need any feedback or just want to stress test some ideas with any of us earlier than that, please just reach out.
Perfect.
I got a question. How do we stress test? I actually want to run something like code to just see people's like feedback, kind of response, because we don't actually know what's going on, like from a user perspective.
So I don't mean specifically stress testing the product. I mean more stress testing your pitch and how you're crafting your pitch.
Oh yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
And I just opened the email that they sent out today. So it's 90 second, which I was saying, and 8 startup max. So yeah, that's your answer. 90 second. It has to be your elevator pitch.
Oh, the challenge. The challenge.
Yeah. So all these weeks you're going to work on that. I'm sure you're going to win it. 90 seconds. Yeah, that's good. 90 seconds is perfect.
And if you are preparing your pitch, time yourself, because 90 seconds will probably feel really long when you're starting it, but when you're kind of standing up and starting to speak, it's just going to go like that. So practice.
In front of a mirror, talk to yourself.
But don't freak yourself out.
Should be okay. And you're all going to win.
I have a question. During the pitch night, after the pitch, do they ask you questions?
Generally, the ones that I've been to, they usually ask questions for a couple minutes. But I don't know, in this format, we have to clarify that. Did they mention that, Kumar?
Asking questions is, the winner. So winner would be decided. The audience winner, what is it? The audience winner is decided through the crowd voting, and the 3 judges decided the judges winner. So these are two category.
As in, after each pitch, the 90-second pitch.
They haven't mentioned. They have not mentioned.
Yeah. Usually they do, but we'll need to confirm that.
Okay, thanks.
No worries. Any questions or comments? Some winning formula, that someone wants to share with the team, so everyone wins. Let's say you want to say something.
Just put a link in the chat, which is an elevator pitch URL. Looks pretty good from what I can tell. But do your own research. You can use that to start off with. But yeah, I think touching on your why and what is going to be important, just following on from what we were saying today.
Thank
you. Cool.
Sure. If there is nothing else, no questions, we will conclude that. I hope you enjoyed tonight's session and it was useful. And as I mentioned, everyone is going to win. So we just have to have the winning formula there and, all the confidence, practicing your pitches. And yeah, we'll be with you. We'll be with you, beyond 8 weeks. I'll be there. And I'm sure, rest of the other mentors too. So should be good. Thanks for joining us. And look forward to seeing you again next Wednesday.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Till next week. Bye. Bye.
Yes.